Hey guys, Engineer Wannabe here. Today we're gonna be taking a look at Seiko's mid-range diver offerings. These are their new releases for 2020, and they're really interesting because they're of a smaller size and they are of a fair price point, I would say. And that is nice because it seems to hint that Seiko is listening to its fan base or its consumers. So here we have the SPB143, we have the SPB149, the popular one, and we have the SPB151, another popular one. So also known as the 62 mass reissues, these two guys, and the Captain Willard, based on the Apocalypse Now reference there. I do want to thank Gem Bijou for providing these pieces to me so that I can review them. And if you guys want to show your gratitude, to go ahead and visit gembijou.com. If you're interested in purchasing any of them, you could go look over there as well. So big thank you to them. Let's go ahead and go through the dimensions real quick. I'm just gonna move some of these so that I don't scratch them. Let's start with the Willard. All right, so this is the Seiko Willard, the 2020 release. Here we have diameter, so widest point without the crown guards is 42.5 millimeters, which is smaller than the original Willard, which is really shocking, but very welcome, at least for a guy like myself with a smaller wrist. So 42.5 millimeter diameter, lug to lug is 46 millimeters. Very nice and trim. Thickness is 13.5 millimeters. And lug width, of course, is 20. All really welcome dimensions here, and it wears like a dream. This watch does wear really well. Let's move on to the next one, and I will only go over one of them, but then I will hold them up to the camera so that you can compare them. This is the 62 mass reissue. Now this is the mid-range one. There's already a larger reissue, well, not the large, more expensive reissue. The SLA017 is the first reissue. The second reissue is the SLA037. Here we have a diameter of 40 millimeters. A lug to lug, let's actually double check that. A lug to lug here is 47, and the thickness is 14. I believe it's slightly under 14, 13.5. So the thickness is 13.5, very similar to the Willard. Pardon me there, I should have memorized that, but I didn't. So the interesting thing about this compared to the SLA037, which I recently reviewed, is that it's thinner. And the other dimensions are quite similar, but the dial diameter is smaller, meaning the bezel is a bit thicker, quite a bit thicker actually. It has a very modern stance, which I do enjoy. And because it's thinner, it wears quite a bit better than the SLA037, at least in my opinion. When I wear this watch, it does not, it's not top heavy, and it doesn't hang over my wrists, at least give the illusion of hanging over my wrist, because the SLA037 didn't, but it did give that illusion because it was so thick. Now this is nice and trim, so that makes it wear quite a bit better. Now I'm not sure if you enjoy the thicker bezel here on these two models. I kind of do. It modernizes it a bit. So the bracelets on these pieces are actually identical, except for the end links. The clasps are as well. There is a little diver's extension on it. Usual Seiko style folded diver's extension. It's not the easiest to deploy. There it is. I mentioned in one of my previous Seiko diver videos that I really enjoy how they integrated it to this diver's extension to be able to articulate very slightly. It does help this watch, this bracelet, wear quite a bit more comfortably. So the clasp is identical. As you can hear, the bracelet is a bit rattly, but that does translate to a really comfortable wearing experience. These watches are really quite a dream to wear. So that's a huge plus. Negative that comes with that are a few rattles and a few squeaks. But we do have some negatives to talk about. And it's kind of embarrassing actually. Seiko's quality control is not doing too well. And it's really sad that in 2020, after years of complaining, Seiko is listening, but is still failing in some ways. Now, the interesting thing here is there's no chapter ring. You can see that there's just a brushed plain ring instead of a minute track. So there's no way to misalign that, which is good. However, the bezel on this guy is not aligned. So let's take it around, try to align it. Okay, it's over one, and it's, yeah. So it's in between two clicks, unfortunately, with this bezel. So you kind of have to do that. Now it's in between two clicks, as you can see. If I move it over, yeah, I'm sure you can see that. So just gonna leave it like that, in between two clicks. So bezel is misaligned, unfortunately. And this guy, the bezel is aligned. So that's nice, but bezel feeling is completely different, and it's okay. It's easier to turn right up until you get here. Oof. It sounds like a... I told my wife it sounds like a diesel engine struggling. So this is not me slowing down when I get to this point. It just jumps over a whole bunch of clicks right in this section of the countdown. There's a little bit of play as well. I mean, the play is okay, but bezel action is a little embarrassing. This one is good on all accounts. Again, completely different bezel feeling, but it does line up. That was the click. Very little play, barely any, and that's that. One thing I'd like to note is that the Willard feels like, or the SPB151 feels like a more premium watch. I'm not sure exactly what, I can't place my finger on it. I believe it is to do with the dial. This is a beautiful matte black dial. It reminds me of the SBGX Grand Seiko with its matte black dial. It's the quartz, I think it's the 261. Beautiful matte black dial. It's very similar to that. and the dial looks very clean. There's no foreign particles or anything in there. This is a plain brushed sunburst sunray dial. It's very nice, but I think the matte black dial is at a higher level. Of course, there's that pop of color, which adds to the visual interest of the dial, and the crystal. This one is slightly domed. This one has a more exaggerated dome, as well as a cut of some sort, a chamfer. So this feels more premium than this or this. And it does cost a bit more in Canadian dollars. I believe this is 1,700, and this would be 1,595 Canadian dollars, and this is 1,750. So this is the limited edition SPB151. It seems to be a really hot watch, selling out like wildfire. People are going nuts over this thing. So this one has this gray blue dial. It's very more gray than blue. The blue is more exaggerated here because of the lighting, but in day-to-day life it is more gray than blue. The second hand, as you can see, is gold. There are some gold accents, a bit more interesting visually than this, but this is very nice and subdued. I'm not sure which one I'd pick if I had to pick between the two. Oof. I might go with this one, but it's a tough choice. Now I believe the bezel here is a steel bezel insert, which is different. I haven't read much about the Willard's bezel insert, but it is reminiscent of an aluminium insert. So I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that's aluminium, and this has a stainless steel bezel insert. The limited edition SPB149 comes with this strap as well. It's a nice strap, nowhere near the quality of the silicone strap that you get on the SLA037, nor should you expect it to be, because it's a lot cheaper, way cheaper, 1/8 of the price almost. Well, not that, maybe 1/5 of the price, I'd say. So all three watches are running the 6R35 movement. That is the newer Seiko movement, an upgrade on the 6R15 with a 70-hour power reserve, which is really nice to have. We have varying accuracies here, as is expected, since the tolerance is really wide. On the 6R35, you're expected to get between -15 and +25 seconds a day. I have been running these in a watch winder. Normally I wouldn't. I don't care too much about accuracy unless if it's a quartz or a spring drive. Those are built for accuracy. These, I'm happy if it's within 10 seconds. But that's just me as a collector. So just a note, this one here is running almost bang on. I'm really impressed with this Willard. I think this is running at around +1, +2 over the last few days. This one is running around, so far, I haven't had this for as long, but so far around +2 as well. Well, this one is running at around +7. You can tell These were all set, well, these two were set at the same time. You can see that this one's quite a bit ahead. Acceptable in my books, but there is a massive variance. Seiko service is not the most reassuring. This bezel, while really nasty around here, I don't think I would send to the Seiko service center, because for one, they might not fix it based on some reports and some experiences, and you might not have your watch for quite a while. So I'd be happy living with it for a while at least, until maybe I'll buy a replacement click spring. This one's really nice but misaligned. Again, it's really embarrassing at this point. It's 2020. Seiko's known to be having these issues. It seemed like they were tightening up their quality control, but if you look at my SLA037 review, that's an 8,000 Canadian dollar watch. It had a misaligned bezel. Two of these have suspect bezels. This one's good, which is nice. Man, it's really embarrassing. I just really want Seiko to do better than this. But anyway, guys, I hope you weren't too disappointed by that. Let that not shadow the fact that these are absolutely beautiful watches. Let me throw them on the wrist. It's starting to get to be a bit of a longer video. So there is the SLA, oh sorry, not the SLA. This is the SPB149. Wears really well. Better than the SLA037, as I already mentioned. Let's move on to the Willard. The SPB151. Oof, that one's really nice too. It's a bigger watch, but it wears really well, and it's really cool. I didn't grow up, again, in the time of Apocalypse Now. I have watched it a long time ago. I can't really remember it. And just for show, it's the same watch really. This is the SPB143, same as this guy. Wears exactly the same. Everything is identical. So anyway, guys, this has been a showcase of the recent Seiko releases. I hope you enjoyed it, and really hope if you decide to buy one, you get a very good example. Best of luck to you all. Take care. Bye.